Welcome to the first ever River City Sports Podcast here at Jeffersons. With me, Taylor Ellis, and always with me when we do these updates is John Neal. And guys, what an exciting time for us. We're finally here doing the podcast. And what are your guys' emotions right now feeling about it? Come on, John, let's hear from you.
I mean, I feel great, Jake. When I kind of had this idea about 6-7 months ago, I never thought we would get to where we are now. I think I've assembled a great staff beside me with you, Taylor. We also got Ron. We added a new guy named Zach Kirby today. I think the sky's the limit for us in River City Sports, and we thank you to all our followers and everybody. Go like us on all our social medias and check for us at games, because without you, we couldn't be River City Sports, and we couldn't provide the best coverage in the Chattanooga area without our fans and without our supporters.
Taylor, why don't you?
Guys, I'm just excited. I'll be honest with you. I started this morning a little bit apprehensive, ready to get it going, but it's the first couple of weeks are out of the way. Our nerves are kind of subsiding. We're starting to get into a rhythm, and guys, I'm just excited to see what we can do the rest of the season.
Not only is this show going to be exciting, but just the football in the area. Right now, there's been some things I didn't even think. Cleveland getting off to kind of a rough start. Didn't think that was going to happen. Notre Dame. John, you've been bragging about them all year. They are finally they're showing me from the numbers they put up. I couldn't believe it. Red Bank 2-1 to start off with. That's just something to really keep in mind, because they have new coach, almost a new system and everything, and they seem to be going fine. I mean, just so many exciting games and so many exciting changes throughout the area. And we're going to be talking about the game of the week as we preview Baylor and Brainerd. And we're also going to be bringing in all sorts of important games of the week as well, and we'll be making our predictions later in the show. Also, we'll be talking about our players of the week this past week, and also, we're really going to chime into some notable matchups. And Taylor will be, or we call him T Money, T Daddy, one of the two. I never know with nicknames. For some reason, I'm really bad.
Whatever works. Whatever
works. Yeah. And I'm telling you right now, this is going to be an absolutely just fun show for everybody. But right now, our next segment, we're going to get into the commercial in a little bit. We're going to be a commercial.
Got to pay the bills.
You got to pay the bills somehow. And then we're going to be giving our segment of our Week 2 scores and notable games of the week, plus our players of the week right after this. That's 2.5 minutes, by the way.
No, that's fine.
I like it. I'll refresh it that way, Mike.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Is everybody good? Comfortable with that?
Yeah, now you go ahead and go to...
Guys, if you're hungry after practice, if you're looking for something to eat with the family, not trying to spend a whole lot of money, or maybe you're just wanting something cold to drink, maybe something a little bit stronger, why don't you guys check out Jeffersons downtown, across from the courthouse on Georgia Avenue. Guys, look for the red and white awnings. It's the restaurant that's not Universal Joint. Guys, it's a wonderful place, great decor. They're really big supporters of River City sports and high school sports throughout the area. Why don't you check it out? They offer great deals throughout the week, guys. They've got fresh, never frozen chicken, great burgers, killer oysters and wings, and I'm a huge fan of the wings, guys. Right now, they're doing 75-cent traditional and 65-cent boneless on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and let me tell you, that is wonderful because I do not have a lot of money. So if you're a poor college student, you're a poor high school student, or like I said, you don't want to spend an arm and a leg trying to feed the family, why don't you guys check out Jefferson's downtown? It's a great alternative to some of the hustle and bustle down on Market and Broad streets.
Back to River City Sports, everybody here at Jefferson's, and we're now going to give our Week 2 recap of all the games throughout the week, and then we'll go into our players of the week. We picked 5 players, only one defensive player made the cut, and then we'll recap last week's game of the week between Central and East Ridge. And John, what were some of the games and some of the scores throughout the area?
Week 2, we had a great week of football. East Ridge was able to knock off Central 3-0. McCauley knocked out Pope John Paul II up there in Nashville, 59-38. Alex Strotter, he had one hell of a game. Hickson took an early lead, contended for a district championship, 14-7 over Tyner. Cleveland was able to finally get rolling, 23-21 over McMinn County. Ottawa, guys, they showed why they're one of the best 5A teams in the state, knocking off Saudi Daisy and holding Hunter Mayer in that high-flying offense of them Trojans, 40-0. Signal Mountain kept paving their way on their quest for a 4A state championship, 56-0 over Bledsoe County. East Hamilton was able to also get rolling in week 2, 19-13 over Walker Valley. Baylor, first time they beat Montgomery Bell Academy in 2 seasons, knocking them off in a late game field goal, 23-20. Notre Dame continued to roll guys over Chattanooga Christian, 42-7. Copper Basin was able to knock off Silverdale Baptist, first time they've got a district win in 4 years.
That's a big win for the program right there. That's a huge win.
Messed up my prediction.
34-21 over the Silverdale Baptist Seahawks. South Pittsburgh, after a crazy 0-2 start for the Pirates down there, they were able to get rolling 62-0 over the Sale Creek Panthers. Red Bank, like you said, Jake, Red Bank's looking pretty good, 21-7 over the Brainerd Panthers. We'll talk about Brainerd in a little bit. Franklin Road Academy was able to get one against Boyd Buchanan, an 0-3 start for Boyd Buchanan. Coach Reynolds, he's not very happy with that one. And Davidson Academy, they were to take a 50-21 win over the Grace Golden Eagles. Teams on our bye last week was Bradley, Howard, and Lookout Valley. All teams looking to get going in week 3.
I'm telling you, I mean, some of those games. I mean, we were at the Eastridge game, and that weather really played an effect on that offensive performance. But it seemed to me like in some of the scores in that area that it really didn't seem to have much effect. Ooltewah putting up 40 points against Saudi, and I mean, that's just incredible. I didn't know Ooltewah's offense was that high-powered because their defense, first of all, their linebacker corps looks like they're Division I college athletes out there. And I'm telling you, to me, it just doesn't look fair out there at all because Ooltewah has so much talent and depth at the defensive front and their linebackers. And their secondary is not bad either. Their secondary forces trouble, especially if you can get Hunter Maynard, who's thrown 10 touchdowns in 2 games, and then the third game you shut him out. You're obviously doing something right over there at Ooltewah.
Yeah, and Jake, our insider Ryan McCoy was at the game, and I remember he sent out a message to us saying, the Ooltewah defense just looks mean.
I remember that.
You can say shutting out a high-powered Saudi offense 40 plus to nothing. Those guys are doing something right over there.
I mean, they are guys. I mean, they finally found their quarterback, I believe. Not knocking Logan Elrod at all because he's a very talented quarterback. He'll have another year to play, and who knows, they might still continue their 2-quarterback rotation. But one of our players of the week was Kelvin Leon. He threw 3 touchdown passes and really got that Owl offense going for the week. And look for Edward Hayes and Kelvin Leon to be a name 1-2 punch connection they have out there throwing the ball in the next couple of weeks. And don't forget Anthony Turner, a great receiver for the Owls, and he was again to put a couple in the end zone for them. And man, you can't say too much about the Ooltewah Owls, but Taylor, we talked a little bit about Notre Dame and Chattanooga Christian. What did you see from the Fighting Irish last week and how they looked playing CCS?
Sure. Early in the game, I don't know if it was the inclement weather we had there before kickoff, or it almost seemed like the Irish were off to a sluggish start. It was a scoreless first quarter, and the Chargers looked like they were going to stay with them there for a little bit. But second quarter came around, Irish scored on a big touchdown to Kareem Orr. Block punt a little bit later sets up another Irish score, and going into half they're up 21-0 and just put the pedal down and finished up. The only score for CCS came at the end of the game in the last 10 seconds against the JV squad. So the Irish are starting to look to roll and are really starting to get in mid-season form here early.
And the Irish, like everyone's saying, Kareem Orr, we watched him at the Jamboree. You watched him this past week. He's just something else to watch. The Louisville commit and everything. I mean, he's going to give the Louisville Cardinals really something special up there. I'm telling you what. At first, I'm one of those people that's got to see it to believe it. And when Notre Dame and Brainerd were in the Jamboree, and the first deep pass of the game, Kareem Orr just picked it off like it was nothing, like absolutely nothing. I was like, all right, I believe the hype. I absolutely believe everything the hype has said about Kareem Orr.
He's a big kid. He looks good, in the pads, and he looks like he's cut out of marble outside of him. There's a play during the CCS game. He went up for a pass, and basically the defender met him in midair. And the next thing you see is Kareem standing on his feet. The defender was kind of slow to get off the field. So he's a big kid. He's a big asset to the Irish, and is going to be big from here going out. So,
I mean, tabbing something real quick on Kareem Orr. A lot of people, a lot of analysts, a lot of college scouts have him projected into the defensive side of the ball where he plays corner and safety for the Fighting Irish. That would be great for Louisville, but don't be surprised if he gets up there and they try him out wide because, only certain players come around every now and then that just has it, guys. And Kareem Orr has it. I mean, I've seen him since spring and now into fall. Taylor, you've seen the past 2 weeks. Like, he can just go up and get a bat of football, and it's amazing what he can do with the ball in his hands. You know, he also threw a touchdown a week ago
against East Ridge. Yeah, so he's very versatile.
And so I'm real excited for Kareem Orr and what he has in store the next couple of weeks. And don't let Austin Banks fool you either. They got a pretty good running back there at Notre Dame.
Just talent.
But recapping another game for us, you know, East Hamilton, Walker Valley. You know, I said earlier in the spring that I thought East Hamilton was going to get off to a faster start, guys. They lost their quarterback in the opening game versus Signal Mountain, and man, did that hurt them the next 2 weeks. You know, the next week when they faced Riverdale, and whew. But the Hurricanes, they're getting their feet under them, so expect them to go good. And Walker Valley's got a much improved team from last year. They got Josh Jones or Jesse Jones up there for Walker Valley, who's playing quarterback for them.
I believe it's Josh, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, though.
Talking about another team that, you know, like I was mentioning earlier about Red Bank being a surprise team, Walker Valley coming out as hot as they did when they beat East Ridge that first game of the year. I didn't think it was possible. I mean, especially with East Ridge having JoJo Tillery, probably one of the top 5 athletes in the entire area. I mean, you give him the ball, he can run it and he can throw it. And honestly, if they had a receiver pass to him, he'd catch it. I mean, that was just another surprise. In Walker Valley, I mean, they showed against Hickson in the in the Jamboree. And Hickson, we watched them play against Side Daisy. They run the split back veer, and coming from someone that ran the split back veer, they ran it better than we did when I was in high school. Like, it's an offense that takes absolute precision. And Hickson was another team that no one really thought, they're not going to be that good. But Hickson's a lot better than people give them credit for, just like Walker Valley. In that game, Walker Valley made it look easy against Hickson. So Walker Valley, I think later on in the season, there's somebody to really watch out for.
I mean, that's true. Just like District 6 AA is wide open, District 5 AAA is wide open behind Ooltewah. If Ooltewah was to have a bad game, who knows? Cleveland won that district last year with 1 loss. East Hamilton had 1 loss in the district, and also Ooltewah had 1 loss in the district. And you can't give enough credit to the Hickson Wildcats and Coach Dan Duff. You know, they looked like they were going to be ran off the field at Saudi Daisy in our opening game of the week, but they've bounced back. 2 great weeks for them, beating Tyner. A lot of people saw Tyner as really competing for that district championship. And Hickson, you know, I think they've got some momentum. You know, they're going to go out and play Bradley, and we're going to get to previewing that game in a little bit. But, man, you know, I'm real surprised about the way Hickson has bounced back from that loss in Saudi Daisy they had 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And we talk about Notre Dame and how great they are. But every time someone mentions Notre Dame to me, I keep on thinking of that game of the week that's coming up soon, Notre Dame and Signal Mountain. I'm telling you what, Signal Mountain, for a team that runs the wishbone or the flexbone offense, their quarterback, Jake Teeter, is the most underrated quarterback in the entire area. I mean, watching him play, he looks like a little Matt Stafford out there. Not just like in the face. I mean, if you put a picture of them together, I couldn't tell the two apart. Except, you know, Matt Stafford actually has a beard. But
and is getting paid to do that.
And is getting paid a lot of money to do that. But Teeter, left-handed quarterback in that offense, is able to really throw the ball very well and makes really good plays. And he's got, in my opinion, probably the most balanced receiver core in the area. I mean, J.R. Wilson, we witnessed him, you know, going to the practice. We witnessed him in the Jamboree making probably one of the best catches I've ever seen in a Jamboree, in a game in general. And Wilson's really lived up to the expectations, and this offense is too. Signal Mountain off to a hot start as well. So, you know, we're here talking about Baylor and Brainerd later on, but always in the back of my mind I'm thinking of Notre Dame, Signal Mountain, and I just can't get over that right now. But back to other schools in the area from last week. Let's recap our players of the week. Now, talk about video game numbers. Video game numbers, I tell you. Alex Trotter, the running back from McCauley, had 374 yards and 7. This isn't a glitch. This isn't a typo. This is Alex Trotter ran 7 touchdowns on the road and was incredible. And I'm telling you, you know, everyone looks at McCauley and they think of him Javon Craig. And, you know, Javon Craig probably, like I said, like in that same category with JoJo Tillery, one of the better athletes in the area. Mm-hmm. But if you're able to run 7 touchdowns, I mean, why haven't many people mentioned you? That's my question.
Yeah, and I believe 3 of them were over 50 yards. He had 300-plus yards on the game, and it's one of those things, if he's going to run like that, just give him the ball and watch what he does. I mean, it looks like nobody's going to have an answer for him early. And it's not one of those things that, this is just a fluke. I know in the first couple of games we saw him against Cleveland, and, he had a couple touches there, a couple big runs. If I'm not mistaken, he's had 150 yards the past couple of games here besides this big breakout here. And I just think it's going to be, something big for him to kind of build on later on on the season here.
Well, I mean, that Cleveland game, Taylor, when we took in that contest when McCauley just blanketed Cleveland, and Cleveland is not a bad team, folks. They have a very good roster. Raekwon Bunyan is also one of our performers, and Cleveland is finally getting their feet after that loss against McCauley. And they're going to bounce back, guys, and have a very successful season. But Alex Trotter, we had a parent text me in the middle of the game saying that Alex Trotter is the most underrated player in the area. And besides Jack Teeter up at Signal Mountain, I believe he is. Mm-hmm. There's many good running backs in the area. T.J. Parker up at Cleveland, Raekwon Bunyan at Cleveland, Austin Banks in Notre Dame. You have Sky Wilson up at Signal Mountain with Caleb Menzel. But, man, Alex Trotter, if I was a college scout and I was a college coach, I would be calling him up this week, getting him up to school for visits because the man can run. He was also on their 4x1 state championship team. There's still 3 state champions from that 4x100-meter team on the McCauley offense and defense. And Alex Trotter, like you were saying, Taylor, you give him the ball early and you get him touches and you get him confidence, he might lead the state in rushing by the end of the year, not only Division II AA, because boy can run, he's fast, he can reverse the field, he likes to hit the hole, he's patient, he's a very good running back. But, Jake, let's transition over to Kelvin Leon. When I talked about him a little bit earlier, in the spring – I went out for a practice. Leon, he was the senior. Not a lot of hype coming in with them losing a very good quarterback the Owls did. Logan Elrod kind of had the momentum coming out of spring, but then Leon was just continuously progressing. And Coach Atkins, their offensive coordinator, was always giving him praise for his leadership and his arm ability and how he can make the deep throws, how he can make the throws. But, man, was this a game for him to come out and kind of make his stamp on, hey, I'm the guy who's going to lead us to that 5A state championship? I mean, talking about the numbers, he just looked good. And we know Saudi's defense is nowhere near the best in the area. But they have players. They have some secondary guys. But, man, Kelvin Leon just came out and just picked apart their defense is basically all you can say. And it will be interesting to see how they progress as an offense, because if their offense can match what their defense can do, guys, and Leon can keep putting up those numbers, there's nobody in the state. I saw where Coach Atkins tweeted out today the numbers or how they had some players ranked. They had 7 people ahead of Ottawa that Ottawa would beat 9 out of 10 times. Now, are they going to face them 9 out of 10 times? No. But Ottawa is a very, very good football team. We're not trying to hype them up, but they are good, folks. They are very good. But going on to our game of the week, Jake, East Ridge versus Central, in a 3-0 battle. D. Moore, he kind of really stood out. What did you see from him?
D. Moore was a guy, he knew how to play in the trenches. I'll tell you that. D. Moore he really took upon the role that, this is not going to be an offensive game. Our offense is not moving the ball well. JoJo Tiller did go out after a little bit early in the second quarter, went out with a funny bone injury, and you put in your second string and then your third string quarterback, and that puts a lot of pressure on East Ridge. I mean, we've mentioned, and we've all can agree, JoJo Tillery is the heart and soul of the Pioneers. And it's not saying that no one else on the team is good. That is not what we mean in any way, shape, or form. It means that they look to JoJo for the leadership and the skills they need to win. And D. Moore really, I think, took that to heart. I mean, when you have 10 tackles, 2 for a loss, a sack, and a forced fumble, and you can penetrate through the offensive line almost every play. Every time I saw him, he was always in the backfield ready to go. And I'm telling you, D. Moore, if he can keep up this performance, he could be probably one of the best defensive players in the area.
Oh, yes. I mean, when they needed defensive play on Friday, D. Moore was there to give them that defensive play. The whole defensive line, for that matter, was really active, really holding their assignments well, setting the edge, and holding that central potent rushing attack of Isaiah Funk, who did miss the game because of injury, but Kevin McKenzie and I believe I have his name here is on my notes. Span. Span's a very good tailback for the Central Pounders.
Oh, yeah.
He's racked up over 200 yards rushing in this early season, and he looked good. But they just could not get anything going on that game, and it was pressure from D. Moore and company on that defense, and you got to give them all the credit in the world.
You really do. And, this past week seemed to be the week of running backs, as running back from Cleveland, Raquan Bunyan. Bunyan.
Yeah.
Raquan Bunyan, the running back from Cleveland, 204 yards, 3 touchdowns. Again, video game numbers in Cleveland. They had a shaky start, but they're finally moving forward, especially when you've got a running back that can run 200 yards a game. And, I mean, Taylor, do you think what is going to be the key position for the next couple weeks in this area? Do you think it's going to be the running back, or do you think it's going to be the quarterback?
For the next couple of weeks, judging from the past couple of games, I want to say running back. We've got a couple of big performances last week. If you can always run the ball, it sets up your passing game. But, I really think getting further into the season here, the next couple of games are going to be big. We're jumping into district play here. I truly think quarterback play is going to be what's going to make the difference here in the next couple of games.
And we talk about big-name quarterback. We talk about quarterback to be big. Probably the biggest in the area. Nick Tiano, the Baylor Red Raiders quarterback, 249 total yards and 2 touchdowns, has the highest rating in the area right now, right ahead of Hunter Maynor of Saudi Daisy. And Nick Tiano, I'm telling you, Mississippi State commit, and it's just, you watch him play, and you look at, the physical presence he has. It's like he looks like he's built as like an SEC quarterback. I mean, he looks like could be ready automatically for the next level. And with him at the helm for the Red Raiders, do you think anyone can beat him? That's my question to you guys. Do you think anyone can?
It's hard to say, Jake. I say as an overall roster, Baylor is not where they have been the past couple of seasons, but the Red Raiders are still a very good football team. If you can go up and host NBA and beat them in a last-second field goal, that means not only did they beat 2 weeks ago a state champion defending in Knoxville West convincingly, but they also can play close games and win close games, and that's what Nick Tiano gives you. And I said that after we talked to him in the Jamboree and seeing him many times. He's got a big arm. He's got a live arm. He's a big body. He's secretly kind of fast. If you think that he's going to sit in the pocket and just pick you apart, you're mistaken. If you get some pressure on him, he gets out of the pocket. Last week he had 165 yards on the ground and added a score. Tiano can do it all, and that's why Dan Mullen recruited him, basically. And it's going to be very interesting in a couple of weeks. I feel that Baylor will continue to roll for the next couple of weeks. And that October 3rd matchup, when the city is painted red and painted blue, and I honestly think, fellas, that McCauley might be undefeated as well. Baylor might be undefeated as well. They do play Pope John Paul II in 2 weeks. Pope John Paul is a very good team, too, in that district. They played McCauley real close. But if both of those teams are 5-0, 6-0 going into that game, man, are you talking about hype? Baylor's won 7 straight. McCauley had won 11 straight before that. And with Tiano, he gives them the ability to win that game. He has the ability to take that team and pass against that very talented secondary with the players he has around him. Because Tiano, we're going to keep hearing his name pop up all season long because, fellas, he is a very, very good quarterback.
He is. And now we go back, we end this part of the segment, with a recap of our last game of the week. We talked about, D. Moore for Eastridge having 10 tackles and having a great game. A 3-0 slug. And can you really say slugfest when it's 3-0 in football?
Defensive battle.
Defensive battle is the appropriate term. Okay, defensive battle. I have never seen a high school football game that low scoring in over. I think the last time we ever had a low scoring game like that when I was in high school was probably my freshman year when my team got beat literally a safe 2-0. But we get to the point where Central, I've mentioned so many surprises, and I feel ridiculous that I haven't mentioned Central, and they were our game of the week last week. The Central Purple Pounders, that defense, they've got some incredible athletes over there, and it's hard to put up points. If JoJo Tillery can have problems with them, it has problems with them. Anyone can have problems with them.
I mean, Jake, they're a very active defense. They run the ball as well as anybody. And their linebacker core is right up there with Notre Dame's and right up there with Ottawa's. Kevin McKenzie, Jamil McLeaf, man, can they run. And, man, can they tackle. And they have no problem with coming up and hit you. Their defensive line loves to play fast, loves to plplay furious. It was a defensive battle, and they will hit you in the mouth. They go. They host this week Marion County, who is a 3-0 ball club, who comes in with one of the leading rushers in the area in Blake Zaman, and can they shut him down? It will be the question. But man, they shut JoJo Tillery down for most part of the game. Yes, he was injured, but all the credit in the world. Central could easily be a 9-1 ball club after this year. If they keep trucking along, again, it's all about that offense and what that offense can do. But Central's defense is a very good defense.
And speaking of defenses, East Ridge, first 2 games of the season, they gave up 6 touchdowns in the air. So secondary was a real problem with them. But, this past game, they gave up, 2 or 3 kind of big passes. But they didn't give up a touchdown. The most important stat. So after this game, I'm going to ask both of you this. After this game, do you think East Ridge's defense, after holding Central to nothing, do you think they will gain a lot of confidence moving forward, especially getting that first one of the year? Do you think they gain a lot of confidence moving forward in the season and really trying to compete in the district?
I'll tab on that a little bit, Jay. I think yes. They played 2 really good offenses. They played a team in Walker Valley that doubled their numbers at that initial game, and then they're playing a 3A state champion contender in Notre Dame, and they finally got their feet under them as a defense, started flying around, making plays. Jesse Jones with a crazy one-handed interception in the second quarter, which really sparked some hype for them. Quo Hughes was all over the field knocking down many balls, D. Moore again, and I think they needed that. Yeah. They needed that game to finally put them over the hump because, like Coach Malone tabbed last week, they were the best 0-2 ball club in the state. I firmly believe that. And, Taylor, I know you saw them a couple weeks ago when they took on Notre Dame. What do you think about their defense, and what was your impression from them and what they need to do to continue to be successful?
Sure. I've seen East Ridge in the Jamboree when they played Walker Valley, and, guys, I thought that was a very good game, even though it was early in the season. Not the Jamboree, the first game of the year. Guys, don't sleep on the Mustangs. I know we don't cover them a lot in Walker Valley. That is a very good ball team, and I feel like East Ridge let one slip away there. Playing Notre Dame, that is a team that, not knocking the Pioneers. I think they're a great ball team, but I feel like going into that, everybody was kind of choosing Notre Dame over them, knew that they were going to be a little bit higher quality opponent. And, I really think that game, it being close up there to the very end, East Ridge kind of got some confidence, says, hey, guys, we can play with these guys here. And I think last week going into the Central game, Coach Malone got after the guys and let them know, hey, we're starting district play, we're getting into it, this is going to be the big ones here. So I really think, this big win, even though it's a 3-0 ball game, first district win, first win of the season for them, that's going to be big for them, getting them going here the rest of the season.
A win's a win. I mean, on paper,
that's true.
That's what it is. A win is a win. It doesn't matter if you beat a team 100-0. It doesn't matter if you beat them 3-0. At the end of the day, you got the W at the stat line. And, now we enter our final segment. We're going to take a quick break, but we now enter our final segment, Notable Games of the Week. Taylor will be bringing his own segment into the show. And also, we end the show with what I've been looking forward to, the predictions. And I'm telling you guys, you might love or hate what we might have to say right after this. Welcome back to River City Sports' first live podcast here at Jeffersons, and we'll be doing this here every Tuesday at 7 o'clock, everybody. And now we go into Week 3 notable matchups, and really, the two teams on the bye week, coming off good starts are Saudi Daisy and Chattanooga Christian. And no offense to Saudi Daisy, I like Maynard, Hunter Maynard. He's a fun guy to talk to. I like their coach a lot. In a way, I'm intimidated by Chattanooga Christian's coach, Coach Spence, because he's got collegiate and professional pedigree. So when you go up to him and talk to him, it's just like, man, he could probably find a way to really make me backfire what I say. So it's really hard to talk to a guy like that. But at the same time, it's really something else. But those two teams, Saudi Daisy, they could really they need the bye. I mean, they've had 3 tough games: Hickson, Red Bank, Ottawa. after getting beat by that, I mean, I would probably need a week to recover as well. Nothing against Cy Daisy. But, I mean, everyone has a bad game. That's just a part of it.
Yeah, 44, I believe, 44-0. And also they had a player, Jack Lemon, if I'm not mistaken.
Jacob
we heard about
Lemons.
that.
Yeah, Jacob Lemons.
Yeah, he took a big hit. Was in serious condition there. If I'm not mistaken, heard the other day that he's doing okay. It wasn't anything as far as broken on his neck. So
that's good.
Get this good week. Everybody gets some rest. Go hard as far as a week of practice going into next week.
But guys, I mean, I know we're talking a little bit about our week 3 matchups, but I mean, any injury, anybody who's been injured, we hope for a speed and fast recovery from any of those. But I mean, there's been a lot of injuries the first 3 weeks of
some pretty serious injuries.
Yeah, and I mean we hate to see that. So coaches are getting more teachings and stuff how to properly form tackle, and all the coaches are doing a great job at that. So when you see an injury out on the field, don't think it's because the players aren't taught how to wrap up correctly or hit correctly, because these coaches in the area are great coaches, are great mentors for these young men, and it's just been some really freak accidents that you don't like to see.
I mean, it's life. It happens. I mean, we see crazy injuries from the craziest of things. Even if it's like a regular open field tackle, a kid could break his collarbone. I mean, it just happens. But now we get into our first key game of the week. Marion County coming to Central. Central coming off a tough game against East Ridge. Can Central bounce back, do you think? What do you think Central's got to do? Both of you guys, I'm asking you, what do you think they've got to do to really bounce back from a loss on the road in horrible conditions? What do you think they got to do?
I mean, do you want to go on this one, Tyler?
I'll let you go ahead.
And we're polite here at River City Sports as well. We can't make up our minds who goes first.
Well, Central's going to have their hands full again this week, as they face a 3-0 Marion County team that has a very, very good backfield in Blake Zaman, Dion Riley, and Josh Henderson. Folks, they are very good athletes in that backfield for Marion County. And Marion County, they had a little bit of a scandal last year. We're glad to see that they have successfully come out of that and really had a successful start of the season. Not having a spring practice, sometimes really hurts the team. And it's nice to see that they're doing really well up there. But as far as Central bouncing back, it's first and foremost, defense starts where it's left off, because if they can play anything in Central, it's defense. So Marion County is going to have a very hard time running the ball. But if they do get going, look for Marion County to be successful, because they are going to run the ball. But if I was to say it right now, I got Central winning at home and bouncing back after that loss at East Ridge last week.
All right. And Taylor, what do you think Central?
So you're going to go with Central at home?
I'm going with Central at home this week.
I like your prediction, but I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to say this to defend that. You've got a very good Marion County team here that, going through some scandal last year. Maybe, not too many people are looking at them to be one of those teams here. I think Central, took a tough loss last week. It's going to be one of those things that's not going to necessarily be good for morale for the team. I think Marion County sneaks one here. It's going to be very close. Ultimately, 3 points. Less than a touchdown is going to decide this one, I think.
It will be a close game.
Going back to, what Central's got to do, the defense got to keep it up. I think one thing Central, and especially watching after last week, they got to learn how to play. They got to learn how to throw the ball. I mean, no disregard, no bad vibes to that quarterback. Quarterback is a solid body. He's got a good arm.
Morgan can throw the ball.
He can throw the ball.
He can throw the ball.
They kept running the out route. It's like they're not giving him chance to really open up the field. I mean, yeah, granted, if you keep running the same, pass pattern, and then you throw something else at him, it's going to confuse the defense. But if it's not working, then you got to find a way to open up that game. They've got talented receivers out there. They're tall, they're athletic. Why aren't you throwing them the ball?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when you think of a team not passing the ball, you have offensive line concerns. And, yes, they have a smaller left side of the offensive line, but those guys can put their hand on the ground and they can they can push off the ball and get going, because guys, they can run the ball.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if they feel that their pass protection is not very good, or they can't give Scout Morgan some time, but if you give him just a few seconds, he's got Trey Tiller on the outside, who's a very good receiver. You had Devin Swafford in the seam, and he got hit last week by JoJo. We hope that he's having a very fast recovery from his injury, but if Central comes out passing, which they may, look for Central to be very productive because once they get that pass offense going, they can beat anybody. I firmly believe that because Ryan Mallory's got things looking up over there.
No, Coach Mallory, he been talking to him after the game last week against East Ridge. He said he was proud of the way his team fought. And, they did. Sometimes games don't go your way. Stuff happens in a game that you can't control. It's just how the flow of the game works. And, Coach Mallory said he was really proud of the fight in his team. He said there's a lot of fundamental things that got to go over offensively. But the defense, he said he couldn't have been more proud. And now we go to the next game, the other Central. Bradley Central hosting a 2-1 Hickson team. And a Hickson team who is known for running the ball when you run the split back veer. And a Bradley Central team looking like the Central Florida Knights when they came out there in the Jamboree. I was mistaken. I thought a college team had stepped onto the field.
Were you impressed by their performance there?
I was actually incredibly impressed. They can throw the ball and they can run the ball, and they have some incredible size up in their front seven as well. I mean, they're built like a solid they have a good solid foundation for their football team. And Bradley Central, one loss early in the season. You'd rather lose early on in the year. That's the thing I was taught when I played high school.
You also got to note it was Riverdale from Murfreesboro, who arguably plays in the best district in the state of Tennessee.
And they're one of the better teams in the state of Tennessee.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, exactly. But it's better to get to, if you're going to bounce back from a loss early, because that way you have momentum riding into the end of the season. But now, Hickson, Bradley Central. Now, what do you think Hickson's got to do? What do you think both these teams got to do? Go Hickson, then go Bradley Central. What do you think each of these teams have to do in order to come out victorious?
Well, you mind if I take this one?
Yeah,
go ahead.
you have this one,
Taylor.
As far as Hickson, I'm going to be honest with you. They kind of surprised me this year. I didn't have high expectations for the Wildcats going into it, but they've got, a couple of good wins. And honestly, looking back at the Saudi game, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Saudi's definitely blown out some people a lot worse than that. And I really think, if Hickson can get going on the offensive front, can get a couple of early touchdowns running the ball, if their defense plays big, maybe some turnovers can be the thing that's going to take them over there, get them going there. And as far as Bradley, it's going to be one of those things if they can contain that offense. I know that's not necessarily an offense that everybody sees playing from week to week, so it's going to be one of those things if they can have a good week of practice going in here. I think it could be a very, very close game going into it.
I mean, touching on that a little bit, I wrote down earlier today one key for Hickson to win, one key for Bradley to win. You have Cole Copeland, a young quarterback for the Bradley Bears. He can throw the ball. Hickson has trouble defending the pass, as we saw that was evident 2 weeks ago when they took on Saudi Daisy and Hunter Maynard. So if Copeland can get out to Tyler Carpenter as like he has the first couple weeks, and they were on a bye week last week, had 2 weeks to prepare for this triple option attack, this little split back veer they have, Hickson could be in for a long night. Again, but 2 really good wins the past 2 weeks, South Pittsburgh and getting a district win last week in Tyner, a very close game, a game that they needed to win that was close for them, would be the run game, would be getting that established early because James Cole, he has 155 yards in 3 games and 2 touchdowns. It will be nice to see what he can bring to the table, and if that offensive line can get that push that's needed to get that split back veer going very well. Because defensively, Bradley's got a good defense. Everybody in 5 AAA has a good defense, and their defensive line is they're heart of that defense. So we'll see push and shove, but I mean, Taylor, do you have a prediction for this one? I mean, who are you going with?
Hard to give you a score here. I want to say Bradley, I really do, but, my gut's going to lean towards Hickson. I really think it's going to be something, defensive interception or, a turnover late in the game. If I can give you a score, 24-21 Hickson. Let's go with that. Go Wildcats.
I mean, Bradley is at home. Bradley's coming off a bye. I've had 2 weeks to prepare. But then again, Hickson has had 2 significant wins the past 2 weeks, knocking off South Pittsburgh and Tyner. So it will be interesting to see what the Wildcats bring down at Bradley. We will have our River City Sports Insider, Ryan McCoy, will be at the game with all your notes. Follow him at RCS_Ryan on Twitter. Follow our Facebook page. But, man, that would be a very good game, a significant game for both teams. I mean, it's too early to tell for me to give a prediction, but Taylor, you gave one, and you're going with the Wildcats. Jake, on to our next game.
Our next game, I'm telling you, a lot of people, our game of the week is Brainerd at Baylor, and we'll preview that in a little bit. But really a game of the week that I think a lot of people need to pay attention to. And coming up here, Red Bank at Signal Mountain, the Battle of the Mountain. I'm telling you, both these teams have really impressed me. I had a feeling Signal Mountain going into, after watching them practice, talking to Coach Price, talking to Teeter, talking to their studs they have out there, and watching them practice. They have that sophomore running back they have that's 6'1", 215 pounds.
He's a load.
I've never heard of a sophomore in high school, 6'1", 215 pounds, that can run the rock like he can.
He's a Division I athlete, is what they have.
They have Division I athletes. They have multiple Division I athletes on that team. But Red Bank does too. Red Bank has talent as well, and that's the thing. And with a new system, new coach, and a new quarterback who played tight end for them last year. He was a tight end, and they moved him to quarterback. Caleb Tate. I talked to him at his practice, and he said he loved the transition. He said he wanted to find a way to help his team win. And right now, it seems to me like he's found a way. I mean, starting off with a big win at Boyd, then almost a good comeback against Saudi Daisy, and then a surprisingly a tough win against Brainerd. And Brainerd, who has had a rough start to the season, but there's still time. There's still plenty of time. But Red Bank and Signal, what do you guys think? What do you think is going to be what's going to be the bigger battle? Red Bank's offense against Signal's defense, or Red Bank's defense against the Signal offense? What do you think is going to be the bigger battle?
Well, I mean, Taylor, you're going to be at the game Friday.
Yeah.
You wanted that one. You didn't mind going up to Signal Mountain to see the Eagles play. I spoke with Coach Price last week over dinner. Actually saw him in my Olive Garden.
There you go.
Eating
Glad
with
I was invited.
eating with his family a little bit. He's had very good weeks of practice. He feels his team can improve. But Taylor, what do you think are some current concerns for both teams, and how do you feel?
Well, guys, I don't have a whole lot, but I just want to give you some numbers here. Last week, Red Bank versus Brainerd, 21-0 victory for the Lions there. Caleb Tate had 2 touchdowns, one of 23 yards, one of 80 to Jerome Hewley. Guys, the biggest struggle, to answer your question, Jake, I think is going to be Red Bank's defense going against Signal's offense. And guys, let me give you this here. Sky Wilson last game, blowout win, Signal 56, Bledsoe nothing. Sky Wilson, guys, 153 yards, 3 touchdowns, 7 carries. That's it.
Just 7.
7 carries. Signal played 10 ball carriers in the game. They've scored 91 points in the past 2 games, guys.
Is there difficulty on varsity level right now for their game? Are they playing varsity on NCAA right now? I feel like with those numbers, that's what they're playing like. It's
something. The offense is clicking. They've got a huge offensive line anchored by Harrison Moon, who's a Mississippi State commit there. He's a huge guy, guys. I'm 6 foot. He towers over me. He's a big kid, and
he's
guys,
great at what he does.
Okay.
You've got Jack Teeter as well. I just don't think that it's going to be capable for Red Bank to contain everything that Signal's got offering.
I mean, I spoke with Harrison Moon in the spring, and he told me that they were going to have the best offensive line in the area, and he couldn't be more correct. I mean, there's more, you would see more, but just the tenacity they have on that offensive line. You said he towers over you. Last week, in 3 games, he was playing tight end, split out wide, catching passes like Jimmy Graham, and now he's playing left tackle and's got a Division I scholarship to Mississippi State. The boy has great feet. He has a great body. It's very, very interesting what the Signal Mountain Eagles have up there, and you can just get a vibe from them as that it's state championship. Will they be able to make a deep run? But, Taylor, Red Bank last year had the worst program loss in the history, 63-0 to the Signal Mountain Eagles.
That's true.
I think there's a little bit more motivation than most going into this game. Yes, you have district play, but Red Bank and Coach Grabowski has something to prove in this game. Where is his program after three games in, coming off a district win, holding a Boyd Buchanan team, an 0-3 Boyd Buchanan team, to a goal line stand to get that first win?
Sure.
But, I mean, I think it's going to be closer than the experts think.
Sure.
Not by any means will it be a blowout, but Signal is at home. They are off some momentum, but if they had many turnovers in that East Hamilton game.
That's true.
So can they play mistake-free football, Jake? And if they do, I see Signal Mountain getting the win. But if they don't, Malik Davis, Caleb Tate, DeMarcus Rivers, they can put up some points. And if you give them a slight motivation, we have it for our taking.
And we talk
Courtney Stamper and that defense will be willing to take that, and they will be ready to go Friday. I'm going to go Signal early, but who knows come Friday because it's football. It's high school football. Anything can happen.
Do you have a score?
I go 35-21.
Okay.
A late score to put it away. It's close, but who knows? Who knows?
You guys talk about, Signal Mountain has probably one of the best offensive line in the area. Red Bank.
Oh, yeah, Red Bank.
That offensive line is collegiate and close to pro style, especially Miles Smith.
Miles Smith
He's the best. He's one of the best
He's
tackles
huge.
there is.
He's huge. I mean, Miles Smith, he has great feet as well. He's got multiple offers coming in from colleges, so don't think that the Signal defensive line is just going to run rampant in that Red Bank backfield. But we're pressed for time here, so let's move on to that Macaulay Siegel game.
The Macaulay Siegel game, that Siegel 3-0 or 0-3, excuse me, 0-3. Macaulay 3-0. This game, anything can happen. It really could. At home, you're going up against an 0-3 team. You can overlook things, and upsets happen. But what does Macaulay have to do to avoid the upset? What do you guys think?
I think if Alex Trotter has 7 touchdowns and 300 yards, that'll be pretty good for him.
Yeah,
that's how you avoid all problems.
If you can get him established early, if you can get if he's gonna carry the ball for you, feed him, give him the ball, let him score early for you. Guys, Javon Craig is one of the smartest athletes I've interviewed this season. He's one of the smartest kids I've talked to. He makes great decisions for the Blue Tornadoes, guys. I think it's the leadership that they have.
He's humble.
He's very humble as well. The offense for Macaulay, I think, is going to make the difference for him.
Siegel lost by 3 to the best 5A team that I think in Ottawa 2 weeks ago. Last week, they got blown out by Riverdale. Where is Siegel mentally right now as a football team is the question. Macaulay, they showed that, hey, we can beat Pope John Paul. Hey, we're 3-0. We beat a Cleveland team. Javon Craig, Alex Trotter, and don't count out J.J. Lewis and Nigel Edmonds on that defense, and Corey McDonald playing nose tackle for them. Macaulay is a very good team. The reason we're noting it is you have a power in Siegel coming down to Chattanooga, which will be a good venue. Macaulay is gaining momentum right now. How do both teams clash? Macaulay can't have a letdown. I think they won't because I think that Javon Craig won't allow them. And also, Ralph Potter's been in this situation before. He's got a good coaching staff down there. I think Macaulay big. I think by 3 scores. And that is because they are at home. They are rolling. But who knows again, Siegel 2 weeks ago losing by 3 points to Ottawa.
You're going to go 3 scores up on them?
3 scores up Macaulay.
I'm going to do you one better. I'm going to say 4.
Okay,
4 scores over them.
All right, well, when we come back after this next break, we will preview our game of the week, Brainerd at Baylor, plus we'll give the rest of our predictions.
And we'll have our special guest, wide receiver defensive back from Brainerd High School, Kaylin Stewart, to do some of those predictions and talk a little bit about the upcoming game.
I'm looking forward to it.
And also, don't forget, our media is powered by Fresh Above Media Direction. Those guys at Famed, you want highlights, you want pictures, you want edits, you get with those guys because those guys will take you over the top. Become Famed, become family. We welcome you back to River City Sports' first podcast. We have with us a special guest as wide receiver defensive back of the Brainerd Panthers, Kaylin Stewart. Kaylin, pretty big matchup coming up this Friday. Brainerd hasn't got off to the kind of start that y'all were hoping for this year. Yeah. But y'all played some really good teams, man. There's nothing to really hang your head about. But, Friday's a new day. And how's practice gone this week? How do you feel about your team and maybe pulling an upset come Friday?
Well, it's been going pretty good. We've been physical this week. Been running a lot more, playing full quarter speed, and we're just fighting and playing as a team, getting disciplined.
And what are some concerns that Baylor brings to the table that y'all's offense and defense has to really key on this week?
Our defense got to key on the quarterback, deal threat. And on defense, I haven't seen pretty much nothing they have special on defense. They just play as a team and work around.
And, I mean, besides just being all you can be for the Brainerd Panthers, it's created some buzz and some recruiting interest. We've talked about recruiting a couple of times, but who's really on your radar? Some schools. I know we talked about some visits before you got on here. Who are you going to? When are you going to it? Who are you leaning next? Who are you leaning towards?
Right now I'm talking to Vanderbilt right now. September 20th I'll be at the South Carolina game. North Carolina State, I see them. I haven't set a date yet. And East Carolina, yeah, I should be up there soon.
Any
Kentucky.
Is anybody really sticking out? You really like the Vanderbilt Commodores?
Yeah, and North Carolina State sticking out a lot.
Okay.
Vanderbilt, wise choice. Always a good choice. Not Tennessee is always a good choice, in my opinion. Not going to the Vols is always a good choice.
We might have a little bit of difference, but we don't have any bias here. And, Kalen, we wish you the best on your recruitment. You keep us involved because we're going to have you. And, folks, and it's another big thing we're going to be doing this year is signing parties here at Jeffersons. When you go ahead and decide if Kalen comes down to his selection, he's a little bit undecided. We're going to have the hat draw, and we're going to have people down here and signing parties in the whole 9 yards. You can find us here at River City Sports down here at Jefferson's. But, Kalen, you talked a little bit about the game. How do you feel as a senior, as a player, that is your role a little bit different this year than it has been last year when you really emerged on the scene as a really big slot guy, or are they getting you all the ball? Because, we're going to preview our game here in a minute, but I would feel, Tevin Walker just needs to get you in a couple slants and y'all can get some things going.
Yeah, right now he's just pretty young. We work out the practice a lot now, so he kind of getting the touch of how I play and how he feel when I run passes and all that.
Okay. Well, Kalen, we've added you here on a special guest, which we want to do for all the players in the area when it's your game of the week or we're recapping the game, or you just feel that you want to come down and be on the show. We have no problem with that because it is for y'all and our supporters. But, Kalen, we got a few games here that I want you to predict. Nobody that you're going to be playing against, but
we'll go around the circle. We'll start with Taylor. We'll work our way to me. You got to save the right prediction for last. That's what I always say. You always got to save the right one.
So you want to start with this one here? Which one we want to go with?
We're going to go with Notre Dame Boyd.
Notre Dame Boyd Buchanan. All right, guys. I'll get it started here. You want to just do scores? You want to say a little bit about it here?
Just say just a slight bit about it, and then we'll go from there.
Sure, sounds good. Guys, Notre Dame Boyd Buchanan. Boyd Buchanan started the season off not necessarily the way that Coach Reynolds wants to start off, 0-3. Notre Dame starting to reach their peak, I think. They had a really tough game against CCS, pulled it off in the end. Guys, I don't think this one's going to be close. I think Notre Dame big, couple of scores.
I mean, I'll second that, Taylor. Again, we tabbed Kareem Moore here in a little bit. The only other athlete that might be in the area that could shut down Kareem Moore is sitting right next to my left. I saw him in a couple passing leagues, and Stewart is the real deal when it comes to defending those good receivers. But I think Alex Darris and Kareem Moore, again, get going. And, I mean, Boyd Buchanan, they've lost some close ones, but, again, who knows. But I got Notre Dame. What do you got, Kalen?
I got Notre Dame. Kareem Moore and Austin Banks, they're going to take the lead for me. I think it's going to be a tough game for Boyd Buchanan.
Excellent pick. I like it. Notre Dame, 42-7.
42-7.
42-7. Not even close.
Not even close.
Not even close.
No. Austin going to take that pill home.
Okay. And up next is Ottawa. It faces a Tyner squad coming off 2 straight losses after having their first week as a bye. Last week, a devastating loss against district foe Hickson in a 14-7 loss. Taylor, who do you got there?
Anytime that we have an insider send us a text message describing the meanness of a defense, I'm going to have to go with those guys. I think Ottawa is just going to be too much for Tyner. I like the Rams. I like what they're doing there. Coach Turner, they've always got some really good playmakers there, but I think Ottawa pulls it off.
I'll second that. Jalen Grimes is a very good running back for the Tyner Rams, and this guy will face him in a couple weeks. But he's also faced that defense firsthand, and but I'll go Ottawa Owls. Handedly. You don't want to do this. It's going to be in the 50s.
50s.
I think, honestly, it will be in the 50s. Kalen, who do you got?
I got Ottawa. that defense is pretty tough. They got a lot of playmakers around them. Basically, they disciplined. They grew up together, so it's gonna be a hard game. I think 50-0.
50-0. Okay.
50-0. I would have gone the same way. Excellent pick. I like the score. I got 50-0. Ottawa. Big.
Okay, next we turn to two teams that are 1-2. Cleveland coming off their first district win. We got Cleveland Wilson Central. We don't know much about Wilson Central and what they have up there in Wilson County, but we know that they always have athletes around the area. But what do you think, Taylor?
You know, I haven't seen Cleveland much, haven't seen, Wilson Central at all, but I can say, the game I saw Cleveland with, they were up against a very good opponent, McCallie. McCallie edged them on the night, but Cleveland's a very good ball team, guys. Don't sleep on them. I think they pull it out in this one here.
I mean, Raekwon Bunyan's back.
Yeah.
T.J. Parker's healthy. I got Cleveland 28-7.
I don't know too much about that team, but I watched Cleveland and McCallie. Cleveland fight to the end of the game, so hopefully Cleveland pull it out with the win.
I go Cleveland by 7.
Ooh, by
Cleveland,
7. That's a
they got their first win. They'll get their second one, but it'll be close. It'll be closer than the experts think. Closer than I think.
Okay, we tabbed a little bit ago that Riverdale handed Bradley Central a big old 42-7 loss a couple weeks ago, and now they take on East Hamilton, another District 5 AAA team that's trying to get its feet. Caleb Rhodes is taking over at quarterback for them. They have Ryan McCoy again. He'll be with us next week, folks. But they have the best special teams guys in the area in Martez Dura and Matt Milletta. So I pulling the upset with East Hamilton taking Riverdale close.
So you're going to go with East Hamilton over Riverdale?
I'm going East Hamilton over Riverdale.
I like your decision. I'm going to flip it, though. I think Riverdale's just going to pull it out over them.
Who do you got?
I think Riverdale pull it off. If East Hamilton get their offense together, they stay disciplined, they'll get the win. But if not, Riverdale going to pull it.
East Hamilton is no doubt about it the best center, probably not only in the area, but probably in the state. And Big D. Yes. I mean, I'm telling you right now, I've never seen a kid at his age, his size, and just how physical he is. Even though I compliment him like crazy, Riverdale runs away with this. No contest.
No contest.
I would like to see East Hamilton win, but Riverdale, man, like you said, they play in the toughest district in the state.
Okay, we transition now to the defeated teams. There's nothing to laugh about that, folks. Lookout Valley and Grace have both had some number issues, but they're two very good coach ball clubs in Coach Webb and Coach Attica. But Grace looking for their first win and starting 0-3. Lookout Valley had a bye, so they've had 2 weeks to prepare. Lookout Valley 0-2 2 weeks ago. They took on CCS. They looked good at times, but again, they got to get their offense going. But guys, you have the Tenacious 20 against the Yellow Jackets of Lookout Valley. Both teams looking for that first win this season. Who do you got?
I like what you said there, the Tenacious 20. Guys, I'm just going to keep this one short and sweet. I think Grace gets their first win of the season here in a defensive battle. Not 3-0, but let's call it 7-3. We'll go with that there.
I think James Roel finally shows that his talent's on the field and what he can do, and I got Grace by 2 touchdowns, 28-14.
Lookout Valley. They defense pretty good, so hopefully they'll take defense and win championship. So hopefully they can pull.
That's right. That's a good pick. Not so fast, you two. No. I'm going to go Lookout Valley by a field goal.
By a field goal.
By a field goal, and they get that first win. I like the way Coach Webb runs his team up there. I'm going to go Lookout Valley.
Okay, and our last two, real quick, we got Sale Creek 0-3 versus Meigs County 1-2. Who do you got? Jason Fitzgerald, ex-coach of the Hickson Wildcats, up there coaching up Meigs County.
I like Sale Creek guys. Second-year program. I wish them the best of luck, but I don't think they pull this one out in Meigs County for me here.
I think Meigs County's played 3 very good opponents, and I think it will be close. I think Sale Creek finally shows what they can do. Garner Cox will get some busted runs. Jeb Hart, wish him the best of luck up there at Sale Creek. But again, I go with Meigs County. It's not Don and Sale Creek, but they're a year away.
Yeah.
They're just a year away. But who do you got, Kalen?
I got Meigs County. Sale Creek pretty young, got a small quarterback, but a lot of potential. but they just very young right now. It's a new program, new beginning. So hopefully, Meigs County win by 21-0.
21-0 Meigs County.
I gotta go with Kalen this one. Meigs County. They're a more experienced team. They probably run a more balanced attack than Steel Creek does. Steel Creek is a young team, the second year in their program. It's going to take some time for them to really get adjusted and everything, especially a young quarterback. I just think Meigs County wins this one.
All right, we have Silverdale 2-1 coming off a loss to Copper Basin. Copper Basin getting their first district win in 4 years. Grundy County coming off a 1-point overtime win against Sequatchie County where they went for it in overtime for 2 and got it. They knocked off the Sequatchie Indians up there. So who do we got? Grundy County, who's gained some momentum, or we got Silverdale, who kind of a shock game to them.
Sure. I really think, coming off last week and losing a close game to a divisional foe in Copper Basin, I really think Silverdale is kind of trying to find themselves now. I think Grundy County sneaks away with it.
I think Grundy County will also get the win. I think they beat a very good Sequatchie County team and held Sequatchie County's fullback in check for most of the game. He did have pretty good numbers on the night, but a coach is going to go for it in overtime. He's looking for the win. He's going to go for the win. Who do you have?
I got Silverdale. I got to go with Tanner with quarterback and safety. A pretty tough kid. Hopefully Silverdale pull it out by a field goal.
Silverdale by a field goal, giving his friend Tanner Webb a shout-out. Tanner Webb's a very good athlete up there at Silverdale. Who do you got, Jake?
Pretty tight game.
It will be a tight game. It will be an incredibly tight game. Silverdale, I'm going to say it now, by a point. A single point, Silverdale.
Okay, switching the tides a little bit. This is Grundy County beating Sequatchie last week by a point. Now you're switching it up.
Going to go that way.
Well, folks, it's that time. We have finally changed gears, switched. We got Kalen Stewart in the house here at Jeffersons on Georgia Avenue. We're going to preview our game of the week. We have the Baylor Red Raiders and the Brainerd Panthers, who are going to duel it out at Baylor High School this Friday. Kickoff is at 7:30. Man, Kalen, it's great to have you here. Guys, it's that time. We're going to talk a little bit. What do you like about Baylor, Taylor? What do you like about Brainerd? And where do you see this game going Friday?
With Baylor, it all starts at the quarterback, Nick Tiano. He looks the part. He's very fluid in his motion, his mechanics. He looks like he is capable of leading this Red Raider team very, very far throughout the season. With Brainerd here, they've got playmakers. They've got speed on the edges. They've got a defense that flies around. I think it's going to be a very, very close game, a lot closer than some of the experts are going to predict here. I'm not quite set on a score, but this one I think goes down to the last minutes.
I would tab on that again. I can't say it enough. Nick Tiano gives them the chance to win every Friday night. They have a good running back in Kelvin Watson. They split carries. Nick Tiano takes it on the ground, like we said last week, had 165 yards on the ground. That's something that our man here, Kalen Stewart's going to have to key on as a defense. I think Kalen matches up against Gage Upshaw in a one-on-one battle. I think it's going to be a very good battle, folks. It's not because he's here, but it's because of what's going to come. Gage Upshaw is a very physical receiver. Kalen Stewart's a very physical defensive back. I talked with Kalen in the spring that big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games. Everybody knows that. Kalen is not afraid to come up and attack the ball at the line of scrimmage. Neither are some of his buddies on his defense. You have Kevin Montgomery, you have Trey Davenport, Marcus Evans. You can just keep going down the line of the athletes they have at Brainerd. So I think Brainerd matches up better for this Baylor team they have the past couple of weeks on an Innsworth and an Ottawa. Not taking anything from the Panthers, but personnel-wise, I think this is a team in Baylor that could be sleeping. I'm not sold totally on it, but I've been going the buzz. Me and Jake's been talking about this one for a while, but it will come close. Can he get open in the slot? We'll see. But if I was going to say it, maybe an upset come Friday night. What do you have for us, Jake?
Another guy to watch out for Baylor. Another guy, their linebacker, Ryan Parker. Another guy to really watch out for. But Tevin Walker has got the best arm in the area, and he's the most underappreciated quarterback. And, the thing I like about this Brainerd team, we went to their practice. We talked to their guys. I like the heart they got. I like the fight they got in them. I like the athletes they got. I would love to see it. I would love to see Brainerd pull off, if anyone to pull off an upset this year, it would be Brainerd over Baylor. But then, something happened. I actually took my medication this morning. Give me that help. Gonna go with the Raiders on this one. Gonna go with the Raiders.
You heard it here first, folks. Jake Chapman going with the Baylor Red Raiders Friday night in our game of the week. We'll have complete coverage as we go tomorrow at Brainerd High School and watch the Panthers practice. We will also be at Baylor's practice to see the Red Raiders practice. We'll have complete coverage for you. But
this helmet's a little tight. Sounds a little tight.
But we'll see where we go from here. Catch us next Tuesday here at Jeffersons on Georgia Avenue for the River City Roundup. Next week, we'll preview East Hamilton and Ottawa in one of the best rivalries in the area. Don't forget that. We have a great team here at River City Sports. Taylor, are you going to take us out?
Yeah, guys. If you're interested in advertising with us, guys, we'd love to make money with you here. If you've got parents that are out there watching, guys, let us know. Follow us on Twitter. We've got at River C Sports. We've got myself at RCS_Taylor. Jake down there at RCS_Jacob C. Is that correct?
Jake C.
Jake C. And then we've got at RCS_RYEN or RYNE rather, Ryan. Guys, let us know if you've got feedback on us. Comment on it. We love hearing from you guys, and we look forward to hearing from you from the rest of the season.
And just remember our 3C's motto. We represent the city, the character, and the community of Chattanooga. You've heard it here first. We are going to be the best sports provider in the area. This is for me, Taylor, Kalen Stewart, and Jake Chapman for the River City Roundup. Catch us here next Tuesday.